It's our delight to have you join us again for your favorite program, Close Flow, coming to you from NTA to Lagos Network Center. We are always very sure that you're going to be waiting to get to meet yet another distinguished Nigerian who is going to be sharing with us his own perspectives, and of course, if you like, expert opinion or impressions about how the narrative on Nigeria can be, well, if you'd like to say it again, one of the best nations on the face of the earth. Surely, on this show, when we bring our guests, we want them to share with us their experiences, maybe their fears, maybe their anticipation, but above all, their assurances or their, firm belief, firm hope that the Nigeria of today will certainly eventually become, well, the Nigeria that all of us, we are dreaming that it should be, a great nation. So what are we looking at today? Well, we have with us somebody who is going to be digging deep into the, well, both the scientific and the technical area about nation building. We know that these days ICT, that is information communication technology, or what you call iTech, or what you call, whatever, digital tech, or what you call digitalization, has now become the trigger that many nations are using to tell the story of their development. So we are asking ourselves, do we think Nigeria has the pool of expertise, scientists, engineers, technicians, gifted persons, those who actually know about the digital environment, the digital tech environment, and who can now employ the knowledge there to make Nigeria become very competitive, globally. Now today we go to Dubai, you can see robots being placed in trade fairs. So some people are already beginning to fear. How about the level where robots will take up the jobs of everybody? So you now have humanoids. That is, you have machines who are working as humans. Now, all these elements, how can we deal with them cogently? How can we deal with them, well, not only just cogently, but also using our experiences and our readiness to make sure that Nigeria can be competitive globally. That is what our expert is going to be looking at today. So just stay with us, you get to meet him, and when you meet him, oh, I've told you that it's a him. Well, okay, well, you know that already because we are both similarly capped. So you will now see why I've said, well, it's a him that we're having on the show. So you get to meet him, and then you cannot be ready to ask all your questions and maybe raise the queries that you wanted to raise about how digitalization is affecting the future of Nigeria. Stay with us.
Just now, we're heading on half an expected report. We're heading on to Lagos. State House of Assembly have passed the federal government.
Thank you for staying with us. It's Close Flow, and it's my pleasure to welcome Oluwatosin Legally to the show.
Thank you so very much for having me today.
Well, I will try and digitize his name. His name is no longer Tosin, it's Tosino. From this show, we'll be calling him Tosino because that's the digital language you're going to be using. Okay, Tosino. Now, we're looking at artificial intelligence, the prospect, and of course, the challenges that we're going to face in this country as a future becomes so close. So, what are your fears? Let's start from there first. What are your fears? Should we be frightened?
Okay, well, for me, I would say that artificial intelligence has come to stay. Before now, most of us are not aware that we've actually been using it.
Okay.
Some of the search engines, that we've been using over time, which has been available for over a decade, are actually on this same tech model, which is artificial intelligence. Because you ask something, a question that is not human, and it's giving you feedback. It is artificial intelligence, But there are a lot of people, you've had all these search engines before today, where different people just pop in their own opinion or their own suggestive, because I need to underline that word,
suggestive, yes,
you know, suggestive opinion of what they think about a subject matter, and then you come in, you do a search,
yes,
and then you see a pool of different suggestive queries,
yes,
you know, and then you tend to work with it. So we've been using it, you know, but time, you know, you started by saying ICT, so I would like to start from there before
yes,
we move to the fears, because the fears is really the key thing, so to say. But before we talk about the fears, you know, let's have that background understanding of how this thing has been with us,
and it has evolved.
It has evolved. We've been using it. So you've talked about ICT metamorphosing into IT, metamorphosing into digitalization, technology as it is. You know, everything has always been about technology. So when you're talking about AI, so to say, you know, it's all about technology. So, and the whole essence of technology to us is whatever we can use to make life easier, faster, and cheaper. And this is where AI is coming in place.
Just so I know. How about safer?
Yeah.
Is safer part of it? The safety part of it?
I wouldn't, for the context now, I wouldn't want to add safer, because, you know, I could have said safer, but a lot of people are still skeptical of the fears, because the truth is, if it's going to take my job away from me, if my data is not, you know, which I'm still going to find
about, yes,
it means to bring in. So if all that are still going to come in as a context,
yes,
so I wouldn't want to add safer yet, because there's now a place for us to now start looking at policies to guide against all those things that can, you know, so all that thing has metamorphosed into where we are today, which is digitalization.
Okay.
So, and we've been able to digitalize everything. So everything we want, we've digitalized it. Now, the fear, which is back to the question, and especially the fact that we are in Nigeria, you know, those other countries are moving at the speed of light with this thing called artificial intelligence in every sector of the own society. But for us, sometimes I ask myself, where are we? So have we started embracing it? And one other thing that I am not too cool with Nigerians about is our adoption of technology. We don't localize it. We don't bring in our own culture. You know, we need to. You don't just embrace. You don't just acculturate. You like
swallow.
You pick those metrics
what you need,
and then
build
your own culture into it. With that, we will know the pace at which we are going to move with it. So, talking about the fear is the fact that our sensitization around artificial intelligence is not as expected. We need every sector of the society. The private sectors are not talking about this thing as it is, you know. Number two, our educational, which is the formal sector, you know, our educational system is not embracing it. You know, there's one of the most popular school, university in Nigeria. They've been doing what we call distance learning for over a decade.
Yes.
And UNESA, which is in South Africa, has adopted digitalization of online learning. You know, it was until after COVID, that some of the schools, because I've been in the technology space, and before COVID, I've actually spoken with so many universities to look how we can, you know, start doing online studies and all of that, you know. So, and at the end of the day, now after COVID, most universities now are finding a means to embrace it. Thank God for Open University, which has adopted some of this model in our own cultural way. You know, so the fear is just the sensitization, and then how we will be embracing it, inculcating our culture to it.
I like that. Now, because you have already broached the question of policy, now that is again very critical. We know that it's a global feat that we are trying to go into. Now, don't you think that the embedded racism, the embedded bigotry, the biases that we have had internationally as humans, won't that be a threat to how, the policy measures to now guard against, for instance, data security, identity security? Would that not be a threat?
Okay, so I would say it's not going to be a threat, because developed nations always find a means to sit down and then bring all sector of the society together to discuss. First, brainstorm on every new technology.
But you said developed nations.
Developed nations.
Meaning?
So developing nations, we literally just sit down, relax,
And wait for them.
and wait for them to bring up the policies, you know, and most of those policies, we, the developing nations, are not always engaged. So by the time they make those policies, at the end of the day, it's going to suit their own society.
Environment, yes.
But for us, you know, as we are always end users, we just adopt it, you know, not focusing on those things. So at the end of the day, for me, I think what we just need to start looking into as a developing nation, you know, and Nigeria happens to be one of the fastest growing. Because when you talk about technology or digitalization, you know, the way and manner in which we embrace it is faster than most other developing nations. So I just feel the same way we are moving at that fast pace, we should also do everything possible to start setting up organization, agencies, departments that can start looking at policies that can safeguard the citizens of this country. You know, so with that, I see no fear in any of the policies, in any of the things that may come with it, if we have our own policies formulated.
Okay, I like that. But if you're not going to entertain any fears, do we have the capacity to build the pool of expertise that you're talking about? Who are that I think again you have to address that to Sino.
Okay,
you have to address that.
So I love that question. You know, everything that has to do with technology has always been individual based learning. So which means that most developers, in quotes, most people who are into programming today, most of them didn't go to any 4 walls of a tertiary institution to learn those skills, you know. So that's to let you know that most times when there is a new technology, you see a lot of young people, because the word is digitalized already. So once I hear of anything, I just go to the search engine, type it there, I start watching videos. You know, I need
on that particular
subject matter. I met a young chap recently who graduated from the secondary school and couldn't afford to move to the next level, you know, and then we're having conversation, you know, I just met him, you know, in a field, and he said he's looking for a job. I said, okay, what do you do? He said he is a UI UX person. So in my mind, I said, okay, send me your CV. He said he doesn't have a CV. I said, okay, send me the samples of what you've done. And he sent me beautiful projects, portfolio. Now, I spoke with some of my friends that have a young chap, because I don't want him to be exposed to the social vices, you know. So at the end of the day, they asked him to send the CV. That's when we discovered that he doesn't have a CV. And he said, so I asked him, how did you now learn this thing? He said he used to hear people talking about UI UX, and he just went online and he picked up videos, you know, on the regular video, and then he was able to learn everything by himself. So that's to let you know that whether there are policies or not, young people are very curious about knowledge. That's what makes us human. That level of curiosity is so high, especially Nigerian youth. You know, so at the end of the day, people would definitely go out of the policies, government's readiness and everything, and they will embrace this thing. But one thing I know, just like now we have too many developers in Nigeria now, right now. But as of 5 years ago, we were very, very few. But right now, a lot of youth are very that, oh, tech, and everybody's just going there because they can learn this thing online, and all these things are available. So presently, there is not going to be any limits in terms of adaptation, in terms of getting access to some of this information.
Okay, brilliant for you for that, Tosino. But now my worry again, I know that fintech, for instance, for Nigeria is now the lead, you know, for fintech in Africa. Now, but the danger again is that fintech also has a certain risk element. Now, from fintech, we have lost about $200 million in less than 6 months. Just trying to look at the figures and the data. Now, so if we let the youths get into the field, okay, and to start playing, as it were, without proper guidance, proper, recovery, policies. What dangers? What risk? I mean, are you not? Shouldn't you be too worried about what's going to happen?
Yeah, I'm always worried. I'm always worried. Just like you mentioned about fintech, it's not just fintech. Most of the new things that you see that has been generated by young people, because when those guys created some of those fintech apps, they were less than 30.
Yes.
And there were no policies.
Exactly.
Both the CBN, the Security Exchange Commission, they have not yet formulated policies. The ministry in charge, they've not formulated policy. It is until young people drive a new idea that governments now tend to now start seeing the need to now create the policy. But like I said earlier, in the developed nations. What they do is, now people are hearing about AI. They should have been policies. There should have been individuals who are tied with the government, where government has given them the mandate to go and understudy this thing called artificial intelligence. I know vividly that in the house presently, I mean the upper house, there are discussions going on, but those discussions are not as assertive as expected. So those discussions are just being taken like it's just an item. We shouldn't see it as an item. We should start seeing the fears of what if that young individual goes online to that online videos engine to read about this thing and start creating things using artificial intelligence. How do we guide against all of that in the future? So when you talk about data now, thank God for NERA, we now have the agency who moderates the domain, for Nigeria as an extension. And with that, they are now coming up with our own national data protection policies. I give it to them. So I expect that agency right now, that ministry that supervises that agency, to have given them the mandate to start looking into AI as in terms of policy by engaging the stakeholders. And when you're engaging the stakeholders, you don't just speak the older generation alone and come up with policies. No, you need to involve every sector of the society, both the students, the teachers, lecturers, even entrepreneurs. Every sector, even those in the banking sector, the commercial sector, everybody should be involved, because when this AI of a thing comes, it's not just going to be about fintech. It's not just going to be, it's going to touch the health sector. So you need to start engaging the people, the doctors, the medical practitioners. You need to start engaging those in the customer service, because right now there are chatbots, they are taking the place of human, and there are no policies that is safeguarding. I know in Europe, there are certain things you can't just bring in technology to run against human.
Yes.
You understand? So there is a mandate that you must have so number of human person in your company. And then you don't just say because you can use AI to make it faster, you just abandon the human place. You understand? So these are the kind of policies that I'm expecting the labor, not just coming up with strike and all of that. They are to be looking into those things as an item individually from every sector, and then touch notes on it so that we can get prepared for the bigger thing, because it's going to come like
yes, I agree with you, because the projection is actually that $50.7 trillion is the expected total contribution that AI will bring to the world before the end of 2030.
Yes.
Now, we are looking at $60.7 trillion in 6 years' time. Can Nigeria earn anything from that, from where we are today?
Whether we like it or not,
$16.7 trillion.
Whether we like it or not, Nigeria will. The same way fintech became a major big deal for us, and most of the commercial banks were not expectant of it. It's not that they've not been seeing it or they've not been discussing it. Most of these fintech developers, these fintech guys, were actually working in the banking sector before, and they've approached, at one point or the other, they've approached the
management of those banks
to let them know that we can upscale but they feel like, what do you know? You know, the traditional way is always the better way for them, you know. But these guys know how to move beyond that space to go and create this thing. And the same thing is definitely going to happen with AI. Like, for instance, now we are talking about first scarcity kind of.
Yes.
Know, and I'll tell you, yesterday, because I needed to go somewhere. I was down full, so I just had to go and drop the car to take a hailing ride, you know. So at that point, I just felt like, okay, what if I create an app where I will know which filling station is selling at this moment, so I don't need to waste my time, because I drove like 5 kilometers looking for fuel. So what that means is I can actually use artificial intelligence. And these are the things that
dig for fuel.
Yes, these are the kind of things that, and every time I have the reflection on some of these ideas, I take it back to government. Like, I want to, because the truth is, it is easier for government to create the policy. You know, NNPC already has an established control management over some of these filling stations, and you make them integrate some level of digitalization. So with that, once you are selling, the button will be on, and I can see it from anywhere. You know, this is an idea anybody can pick and create a solution around, and that is what AI does.
Now, you have mentioned the question of a dashboard. So if NNPC, what we are saying right now is that, do we have dashboards in all the ministries, for instance, to monitor exactly the mandate of that ministry concerning the citizen? Do we have such right now to sign up?
I would say we have and we don't have. We have, by the virtue of the fact that we see when they launch some of these things.
Launch.
Yes, when they launch it, we discover that, because at the time there was an app called Eagle Eye, which the Nigerian police can actually use to monitor when there are issues in, you know, you can hit a button, you can hit a button and then they will get there. But the question is, how many police posts has internet? So most of the police posts closer to us don't have internet. So how will they be able to integrate? Because for AI to work, you have to connect. You have to be connected. Because it's all about data. The only thing AI is doing is to manipulate and then analyze data. So if there is no connectivity, which data will he
read?
You understand? So when we say looking at dashboard that different ministries, different sectors can actually use to manage all of this data and then give better results, the truth is we are not ready for it. And for me, I feel and I know that, it can look, it's capital intensive for a start, but at the long run, once you give room for research, because that's another big problem we have in developing nations. You know, you create a solution and then nobody is looking at the sustainability of that solution you get. So you can create those dashboards across every sector to monitor what's happening. But another problem is, once it is not generating money, it becomes a thing that you have to just let it
drop. Okay, all right. Thank you again for that. That's another brilliance that is coming from you. Now, the global market for AI, we are looking at $267 billion that is in 2 to 3 years' time. Now, in Nigeria, what do we have as for AI? How do we rank AI right now in Nigeria? Yes, we have spoken about fintech, but outside of fintech, what else again?
Okay, so let me see how best I can talk about 3 sectors that have started maximizing this. One is the health sector. You know, so individuals, or so to say, maybe corporate bodies, you know, are already making use of this. Some years back in Nigeria, I think about 2 to 3 years ago, if you have a medical doctor as a friend and you tell the person that, oh, okay, I want to be attended to virtually, I don't want to come to your office, they'll say no. They don't do that. That you have to come in person, you know, because they need to test you, they need to do this. Now, gone are the days where you have to tell me that I need to come to the office, you need to do this, you need to do that. Presently, right now, there are a lot of applications now. We have smartphones that you can know at least the basic about your health condition, you understand, which when you get to know some of those things, you can now walk in to a medical center to now, like, okay, get all the consultation that you need. Yes, they still want you to come and have, but the truth is, Okay, there's another app where you have any drug, and then if you scan it, it's going to analyze the drug for you. So if it's connected to your smartphone, and that your smartphone has your history, it's going to tell you, okay, this particular drug has so is going to trigger so in your system. Don't take it. So with that, I don't need to go to the hospital again. So that's to let you know that that's particular sector that we're talking about right now, a lot of people are leveraging on it. They're creating applications and they are making money out of it, and they are Nigerians. That is just one. When you talk about customer service right now, gone are the days where I'll call the customer line of the company, and then I'll be for 15 minutes. They are still wasting my time. You understand? Singing songs to my ear. Right now, as I speak to you, there are chat booths already, and there are virtual customer service that will attend to you. You know, once you drop your information, because AI is the only thing AI does is to analyze your information. So once you drop your query, your information, there is something we call knowledge base. You know, so there is a knowledge base on that application, whether it is a system, whether it is your phone. Once you drop it, it triggers that knowledge base.
Yes.
And it brings out responses. And it will start giving you as if you are talking to human. Sometimes it can even be much more effective than me, because I being an IT person, you know, there are some companies that give that we too still buy servers from in Nigeria that help to manage, and most of their customer service person don't even know anything about IT. So when you're asking them questions, human, like your server is down, because I'm a technical person and I'm mentioning the reason why your server is down, the person will say, okay, I don't know, okay, I would escalate. Why are you now there? So the only reason why you are there for me is just to receive my call. When you can use a chatbot that can tell me what exactly has happened to the server, and it can even estimate when the solutions will be provided, you know. So these are a lot of things that are already in place right now. I remember like about 10 years ago where I started learning about those chatbots, you know, but there were no organizations to embrace it.
10 years
at that
ago.
time, yes, 10 years ago.
For now,
there's virtually 95% of company website now use chatbots. Even you know, everything is automated. You can do some things on WhatsApp and you get it done. So that's to let you know that some young people have started tapping into that market space, and they're already making the millions. So for me, there is so much in that space in terms of money.
Okay, all right. In terms of money, well, that's good. Let me quickly give the numbers to our viewers so you can join us and look into what Tosino. Well, his name is Tosi, but I've digitized his name to Tosino, so all of you can also be a part of what he's trying to share with us. Now, 080-3589-4722. 080-3589-4722. There's no chat box on that number, so just send in your question or your query, then Tosino can deal with it. Now, Tosino, something else that you have said, which is quite interesting, is the fact that now, so how do we, for instance, protect jobs? If we can have machines to do all the things that humans, or that we're going to have problems, we're going to have limitations, we're going to have some level of flops and flips when humans are managing those spaces. If we deploy machines into those areas, so how do we manage job situations?
So there is a professor in Stanford who I follow dearly.
Yes.
Ethan Malik. You know, Ethan Malik, he wrote a book recently, called it Co-Intelligence. You know, AI, it's all about AI and all of that. So as a professor, as a teacher, you know, he believes so much. So, you know, literally in Nigeria, when you have students as a lecturer and you give them assignments, you're always afraid, or you're looking for means of degrading them if they use AI.
Yes.
So we see this thing called AI. Let me be specific. ChatGPT, for instance, we see it as ChatGPT is one of the AI tools, which is in the educational space. Yes. So we see it as a tool that people will be using to cheat, you know. But this professor doesn't see it from that school of thought. In fact, he encourages his students to use AI to get answers to his questions.
Yes.
You know, so we need to start. So from there, it's called co-intelligence, which means both human and machine
yes.
should, because the essence of that AI is to make us smarter. The truth is, what you don't know, you can't analyze. So as a student, what you don't know, you can't ask AI. AI
Cannot answer if
cannot
you
just
don't ask.
answer if you don't ask. So one is to let you know that I'm taking that co-intelligence to coexisting. So we now need to start embracing coexistence of both human and machine. What that means is we would use them to make us smarter. The truth is, before now, when the commercial banks, when they started at the time in the 90s, there's nothing like a system. It is normal this voucher book that they use, you know, to input all your analog system to input your data and everything you get. So, but some persons were afraid that they will lose their job at that time.
Yes.
I remember at the time, some persons were typists, and they were afraid that the computer is going to replace them. But I know of so many people in that generation that upskilled their knowledge, and then they coexisted with the new technology.
With the new computer.
So, the same way, AI is not coming to take away human job, because AI will still need human to do most of those things. So the only thing we need to do as human is just to find a means to learn about it and adapt ourselves to it so that we'll stay relevant.
Okay. We still have so many questions for Tosino because there are biases in the algorithms that they're actually using to develop all these tools. So it will come back and give us the assurances that we need that those biases will not become, insulting at the end of the day. But stay with us. We are not going anywhere too far, just nearby, and then we're back.
Lagos now, where he will not happen except a report will he will not. The Lagos State House of Assembly have charged the federal government.
All right, it's still close flow, and we'll see after Sino in the house. Incidentally, what I raised before we went on that break is very critical. So the biases, already some people, like you said, the professor at Stanford raised a point. I have another professor at Harvard that's also raised another point about this threat of the biases that we are seeing in the algorithms being developed or being used, being employed in all these AI issues. So especially ChatGPT. Now, how do we deal with that?
Okay. So the truth that we need to live with is the world will keep evolving. And what makes you what makes you enjoy the world is the ability for you to adapt to how the evolution is, and then being ready to embrace the new technology,
the new changes, yes.
The new changes that comes to it. So one major thing is, one, we had ChatGPT, we had the 3.4 version, which was the very first one, and the free version, and the truth is, humans are smarter than it, according to research.
Yeah.
So, because there was a test that Nathan did, Professor Ethan did, and then he gave them tasks to go and use ChatGPT and all of that. So at the end of the day, they came back. Aside from all sectors, he asked all sectors in the school to act all disciplines, so to say. So at the end of the day, it's only those in the law side,
yes,
that their results was low using ChatGPT. That's the free version, but he now told them about the upgraded version, which is 4.
Yes.
And lo and behold, the least results, the highest result for the first one was about 70%, and there are a lot of 20, 30, 15, which means human can even be much more smarter than it. So when they did the one for the second one, the lowest was about 80%.
Wow.
So that's to let you know that one of the fears, a time will come that it will look like the machines are more smarter than human. But one thing I still want people to understand is, who programmed the machine?
Humans.
Humans. As we are, all of us, our IQs are different presently. So which means they are superhumans presently. There are people who are smarter than others, which we call geniuses, so to say. So at that point in time also, we still have people that will still be smarter than the machines, which we will still regard as geniuses, because for anybody to now outsmart the machines in the future, then such a person will be regarded as a genius. So the truth is, whether ChatGPT or whatever AI is bringing to us, whether it's going to be smarter than us in the future, I'm still going to say that humans are still going to be the one to program it, and humans can still deprogram it. So whether we like it or not, we can't take the place of some set of people who are smarter than others. So we, right now, one major skill I tell people, especially young people, to go and learn to become relevant in the future and the use of AI is just called prompt engineering. So, because the only thing with AI is the ability for you to ask, to be able to prompt it,
to give the kind of
answers you need. So right now, a lot of people are learning, and most of our institutions, there is nothing called.
So, in 1 second, we have some viewers online already. Okay, Adejoke from Kwara, all the way from Kwara. Thank you for joining us. She says, "Is the fear of AI taking over human jobs in the future not real?" That's Joke. Joke, she's worried.
Whether we like it or not, it is going to come to be real. But all I can just say to you is, move with AI. When you move with AI, if you're 5 in the department, the only person that may likely stay is whoever can use prompt engineering. Because AI can solve the problem. I don't need you any longer. But I need someone to be able to communicate now what we want.
Use the machine.
You know, you understand what you want to do, but AI can do it smarter than you. So the ability for you to now be able to tell AI, use AI to get the result for that particular industry or that sector is what will make you relevant in the future. So I tell people I'm not afraid of AI, because even in my field, for instance, I build websites for people, and a lot of people are now using AI to build websites. So should I be scared? Should I be worried? It's not like I'm not worried. But what am I doing? I'm also learning how to use AI to build websites.
Okay, all right. I hope that answers the question for her. Otherwise, you can ask the question again in another way so that you actually employ your own AI. Well, okay, we have David. David is from Lagos. He says, "Today we hear of human AI. Even want to have children of their own. Is this not a fear for the future for humans?" That means we are looking at humanoids.
Humanoids. So I know that there is a country, is it Japan, so to say, where the growth in terms of their population is declining.
Yes.
So, you know, I said something earlier that we need to formulate policies based on our own culture. So for them, there is a need, there is a huge need for them to find means of using maybe artificial intelligence to solve that particular problem. Do we have that problem here in Nigeria? No.
But we have our own problem.
But we have our own problem. So in that context, for instance, now there are some mobile applications built that you can't use them in certain countries.
Now,
right now, yes, you can't use most of the common social media platforms in some of the countries in Asia. Presently, is not allowed. So the question is, those countries in context, they know the implication of exposing their citizens to those things. Yes. So they didn't allow it. So they blocked it off. So that's the same thing I'm expecting our own government to also be doing before adopting some of this technology. So for the fear of a man saying that he doesn't want to have a natural human, but wants
another
child from
a machine.
A machine. You know, what is our culture talking about this? So we shouldn't just start embracing everything. We need to first look at our culture, how we do what is our own way of life. So by the time you are now embracing those technology, you formulate policies to guide against it and protect the citizens. And
okay, we are waiting for all of you to send us your queries, your questions, or what Tosino is trying to explain here. Now, somebody is saying here that now, if machines can answer all the questions, okay, Aisha, 1 second. If we can get machines to answer all the questions, why go to school?
Okay, that's another beautiful question. This is so interesting.
Yes.
A time will come that you won't have to go to school, a physical 4-wall school any longer. That's the truth, you know. And I don't want to say thank God for COVID, but COVID has actually made this possible. In about 2011 or 2012, I built a learning management system. And I was trying to pitch it around. Nobody accepted it because they couldn't understand, they couldn't comprehend. But I was looking at the future of education, you know. But when COVID came, a lot of costs started coming in for us to now start building a learning management system. So whether we just like it or not, the truth about all of these things is a lot of things are going to change. And we as individuals, we should just be ready
for those changes,
to let go of our old ways and adopt the new technology.
Okay, all right, Aisha, thank you. Aisha says, the young people and their exuberances in ICT, how do we check cybersecurity and data protection?
Okay, I think we've talked
a little bit about
earlier.
that, but you can please, yes.
That is where I need the government to come in to just formulate policies to protect.
Well, how about other stakeholders like you, that you're a developer?
So,
and how
for us, we as developers, so to say, we create things, but we need government policies to, because if not, we will just keep producing these things without taking into consideration the effects on other persons, because I only want to create to make money. That's but it true. Is the job of government to not just allow me to create a solution to just make profit alone, but to also be human. So while I'm creating the solution, I should have human elements to the solution and not just about the profit alone. So we need government policies.
Thank you. I love that, Tosino, because again, that is another issue that internationally is also on the table. And that's a question of ethics. There are a lot of people are saying that how ethical actually are some of these developments that we are talking about.
Okay, as of today, we have a very big problem with that, because anybody can just, like I said, can just create anything. So globally, right now, that is the discussion, and we are hoping before the end of 2015, there should be global policies. 2025, sorry. There should be global policies to guide against some of these things. So I am very, very hopeful, because right now it's so porous, it's so open that anybody is ready to just do anything unethical just to make money out of it.
Okay, again, back to ChatGPT. Now, if some of your students, distance learning now, ChatGPT, and you cannot deploy ChatGPT to answer your questions, okay, so you raise a question, do me an essay, or do me a math solution, and the young man is just using his machine to do it. So how does he gain from that interaction?
So, I'll still go back to Professor Ethan.
Okay.
He said something around the fact that you as an individual who is using ChatGPT, you ask one question, one line of question, ChatGPT will give you 10 answers. So you only know one idea about something, and ChatGPT is giving you 10 other ideas. Your knowledge. So what is happening to you? You are learning more. So the truth is, this AI of a thing is going to make us know more. So like before now, I do tech, I do training, but I don't have an agency. Now, I have an agency where I help SMEs to do design pitch deck, company profile, and also what we call business plan, and then PowerPoint presentation. You know, if you have a training.
Small businesses.
Small businesses,
yes.
So before now, I don't do that because that can be time bashing, so to say. But with the advent of ChatGPT right now, in 30, maximum 1 minute, any of those things. Before, it takes about 3 days for someone to complete a pitch deck. But now I can complete it in 2 hours.
All right. Wait for Kunle. Kunle is from Ibadan. Kunle says, how can AI be used to address societal problems like poverty?
Okay, so I would link this directly to my last
answer
and what I said earlier.
Yes.
So I said before now there's a arm of my business that I don't do before now, whereas there is money there.
Yeah.
So if you are young right now, you don't have you don't have a job. You literally may not necessarily have to waste time to go and start looking for a job, because you can create a job
for yourself
from the comfort of your home. Right now, if that person can access us live right now, that means the person has access to internet. And the only thing you need with AI is internet. So now you can be using that same ChatGPT to be designing websites. You can be using that and be collecting money. So if me, I'm going to charge someone, let's say 1 million naira, you can decide to charge someone 100,000 naira, and you will get it
many
done
more persons
faster than me. Yes, in context, we know that your site will be different from my site, but there are some small businesses that cannot afford a million naira website, but they just want something visible online. So with your own little, you are not making 1 naira today, you now have the ability to start making 100,000. You've created job.
Okay, now just speaking to Kunle. Kunle, I hope you're still watching. You said you actually believe that AI can help us zero out some of the challenges we have, social media, especially all this Yahoo element. Do you think are you trying to educate Kunle to also look at that as a better alternative?
Yes, I would say that recently what I do right now is I look out for young people in the society who I can engage and then do what we call conversion.
Yes, reskill them.
Yes, reskill them in such that if I don't do that, they have a very high tendency to do some of those acts.
Yes.
You know, so what I do is to have conversation with them and then let them see that this same thing you're doing that is unethical, you can do it ethically. Because what you're using is internet to get someone, to steal from someone. You can also use that same internet to make legit money. And before you know it, you even get access to remote jobs.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Brilliant. I must tell you again. Favor is from Abuja. Favor says, what are the ready opportunities that the young people can take advantage of positively? That's what you just said now, but maybe you want to echo it.
Okay, so I can just add something else to it. And one, like, for so long, I've not written a book because
not yet.
I've not written a book yet because of the fact that I am a practical person. I don't like writing. You know, I don't like writing. But right now, I'll tell you, since last year, between last year and now, I've written so many copies. And what I mean by copies, it means that wherever Favor is, you can become a copywriter. So before now, I told you I've not written a book. I don't like writing. Now I write copies. So if there's an advertorial that I need to do, I can create a smart script. I'll just a smart script for it. That's a copy.
Yes.
So, and a lot of young people, so I have some young people who are in school right now that when they send me their copies, I pay them, you know, because if I'm going to hire a professional who has left school, they'll be charging me so high. They can say as high as 50,000, 100,000 naira for a copy, you know. But those young people, because they are in school, they just need that, and they are doing it easily.
Yeah.
So with 20,000 naira, 15,000 naira per copy, they are very, very fine with it. And you are empowering them, you are also building their portfolio. So for me, wherever you are, you can leverage on the power of AI to become self-reliant. There's copywriting. You can start designing. There's an AI tool called Canva, which you can use to design anything easily. There are already made templates there. Just tell the prompt. Like I said, it's all about prompt engineering. Write it there that I want to design a flyer for an event. Put the name of the event there. It will give you a ready-made template. All you now need to do is the date there, change it to your own date. The time, change it to your time. Just customize it to your own taste, and then download immediately and send to whoever you are sending it to, and collect your money. That's all. Now,
that again is a brilliant observation, because the window is there. If Nigeria's population of young people, we are looking at about
70 million.
Yes. So if about 70 million of them can get involved in what you're doing, knowledge gathering and sharing, then of course the economy. Okay, now let's look at the economy again and how AI can be a part of that. Because some people are of the opinion that the compound annual growth rate for AI actually by 2029 and 2030, we are looking at that if you invest your money, you can generate up to 37.4%. You think it's possible? You think that you can make that kind of gain?
It's going to be more than that.
No, wait. Don't say. That's me. Now, Treasury bill, for instance, the Nigerian Treasury bill that you can actually invest in, you can't get up to 37%.
So, Treasury bill has been in existence for so long, and I'm using algorithm. There is an the data as it to say you can predict.
Yes.
So they already have an open gap, the minus and the plus, where it can always be.
Yes.
But when you're talking about AI, we've not even been able to tap 1% of what is going to look like. So that's to let you know that it is endless. It's going to come so endless. Like, it is still the things I've shared about 4 sectors now, and each of those sectors, what I've shared is still like a surface to what is to come being deployed. And then NNPC puts a mandate that when you have 4, if you don't sell, you will be penalized and you have to pay certain amount. Please, what happens to that money? It's not going to increase the money generated by NNPC. So these are things that are beyond our imagination. So as far as I am concerned, every sector is going to be touched. But right now, it is one sector per time.
Okay, all right. We have Ugochukwu from Ipaja. Ugochukwu says, how can we balance the benefits of AI with the need to protect individual privacy and security?
So I also I've said this earlier, that right now, because it's still very, very open, so the developed nations, they are already coming up with policies to safeguard against data protection. But right now, some of those things are so open because on my phone right now, there is what we call Meta AI. And then when I typed my name recently, because I just updated my phone, and I saw so many things about myself, and it picked them from different things online. For me, there are certain things I don't even want there. So my data is open already.
Yes.
So I have to now go and... So immediately I went to some of those
sites.
There are some, like, I can't go and edit. Like, for instance, a newsprint, an online newspaper, I can't go there and edit or ask them to edit or change, So that data protection of a thing is what we now need to create policies to guide and then protect the citizens.
Okay, well, my producer says if I let you stay here, we'll probably be here for another year. But before we say bye-bye to Sino, okay, do we have ChatGPT, for instance, to help somebody to monitor the use of a car? Is that possible?
The use of a car? Yes. So you can actually use ChatGPT to monitor the use of a car, but there are other AI tools that presently they've been deployed. Like I said, some of these things we've been living with them. Google in specific has been using this thing for so long. And when you want to monitor any car, it uses that same Google API.
Okay. Thank you so very much for coming on the show. Thank you so much. And for all our viewers, it's never over. Of course, the link you can share from his own site and from our site on NTA. So you can go share the information and the knowledge that you have shared with us, with all your friends. Because now it says the future belongs to you if you know exactly what to do with AI. Thank you for watching. And until next week, it's bye from us.